Welcome to another edition of your favorite program on Catholic Television of Nigeria, Spotlight. Spotlight is a program where we discuss issues that borders on economy, health, religion, and our national development. Today, we'll be beaming our searchlight to Anambra State, where we have somebody who is a very important person. He is a former CEO and Managing Director of Transcorp Hilton. He is a politician. He is a devout Catholic, a business leader, and an entrepreneur, and also a Catholic who has chaired twice the unusual praise that we have in Nigeria. I'm talking of no other person but Chief Valentine Ozigbo. He is a governorship aspirant for the forthcoming November 8th governorship election in Anambra State. My name is Tony Abba, and it is my pleasure to say welcome to the program, Your Excellency.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes, we'll start with the mood of the world right now. We know about the demise of Pope Francis, and I use this opportunity as a Catholic to say, accepts our condolences. It's our own condolences.
Yes,
so,
yes.
Yeah, we'll start like this. If you are to describe Pope Francis, he is a world leader. What are those things you would say Pope Francis exemplified?
It's an interesting question to start off with because indeed the whole world is mourning. The world is mourning a great leader and also a religious leader. He signifies and embodies everything that we wish for in terms of humanity, embodying love, humility. Despite how highly placed he is in society, he is that person that would rather want to be with the people to demonstrate practically what Jesus Christ came to do in this world. You can see how he has chosen his life. Some have written that he left only $100. He was requested to be buried at the St. Mary Major, not where the palatial other popes had been buried. You can see how he lived his life in that almost an obscene, very intrusive, and still very active in terms of engaging. And what he stood for in this world is always about peace, about inclusion, about spreading the gospel in the right manner. So we're truly going to miss him. And I pray to God to accept his soul peacefully. But more importantly also, I pray that God inspires, the Holy Spirit inspires the cardinals to make the right choice. Because we need Catholic Church where we will keep those tenets that Jesus Christ came here to live for, and make sure that we expand God's kingdom in this world and do the right things, and not necessarily about what the media, what the world is looking for, but rather what the world needs for a better, harmonious living, and particularly a life that can gain us the glory that we're attaining. So I sympathize and mourn with all of us who are Catholics, all of us who are Christians, and all of us who mean well for the world. Because even if you're not a Christian and you mean well, you would miss Pope Francis. He's a leader, he's an inspiration to all of us. And I pray to God that everything goes well.
Okay, during my introduction, I said you're a politician and then you're also a business person. Now, what is the atmosphere like in Anambra State? We know the governorship election comes up on the 8th of November. Time is running out.
Let's go back to that introduction. I'm a politician, but I like the world to really understand what kind of politician is Valentine, because there are politicians and there are politicians. Sometimes we brush everybody with that same stroke, and we make mistakes. I am not in politics to conform to the status quo, to play the way it has always been played. I go into politics with my mind clear. What am I going there to achieve? What are the core objectives? And how do I want to play it? How should it be played? And so if it means resetting the manual, if it means resetting and challenging the status quo, that's what I'm in for. And the reason is not far-fetched. I was already comfortable with what I was doing. I had no reason to quit corporate world. It wasn't because of fame, it wasn't because of money. So what then could be the reason? And the reason is simple. The way we are in this society, particularly as black people, I've often wondered, why haven't we progressed like the rest of the world? How come we're still being looked down upon? And sometimes we actually do things that we deride ourselves with. And so, beyond understanding these issues, and sometimes what people do is start to look for who to cast the blames to. You guys in the media will say it's the politicians. Politicians will say the people. The people say it's the religious leader. They all keep looking for who to blame. Some go beyond even us here and go to the extent of blaming our colonial masters, our forefathers, our different people to blame. But what we have always felt to do is to accept responsibility, as you are, as I am, to say that the world hasn't evolved, hasn't changed positively because I haven't done what I'm supposed to do. So what am I going to do to change my own situation, to impact wider community and life and society? And so I'm in politics to ask and to respond to that question. Why are things still the way they are? Can't they change? When will they change? Well, how will they change? And the biggest answer I've received so far is that devoid of political leadership, you're wasting your time. You can pray for all you care and want until we get the governance right, until we are able to make sure right people are in the right office, through the right manner, in the right platform, and go there with the right vision, and then begin to execute. That's when that injunction, Proverbs 29:2, is only when good, righteous, quality people are in power that the people will rejoice. So here is the reason why I go into politics, to respond to that call that we can actually improve and get better. And that is why the way I go about my politics, I really, sometimes I don't look at what the crowd is saying. As long as I first of all think, what is God expected of me in this decision I'm about to take? After that, the people that I want to go and represent, in this case, Anambra State, how would they understand, feel about what I'm about to do? And once I'm guided by those two principles, then you can always get it right. So in 2021, I ventured first into Anambra Governorship. I ran under PDP. I was privileged to emerge as a candidate, beating 14 other aspirants, and went on to come second in the main election, which people were judged actually won the election. But for some reason, the mandate was stolen. I moved on. I didn't go to court. I accepted it as it is. And then in 2023, I was very active in supporting P2B in Labour Party. And then eventually, I'll say to you, a lot of things started happening in Labour Party. We suffered a lot of betrayals, leadership failures, and I saw no hope in the Labour Party. And eventually people get to understand what I'm talking about, but I clearly saw there was no hope. And so the question became, if it's not going to be Labour Party, where else? It was a big question. And some didn't understand why I joined APC until they get to this logical conversation. If you now know that Labour, there's no hope there, and I ask, where else? Some will say, why not PDP? Come on. Are you for right? And then, okay, I go to the other small parties. You use the small parties on those just forming into coalition that are yet to even form, when INEC timetable is already out. So you're going to be wasting your time. So the only option really to be able to unseat an incumbent is APC. I didn't get in there early enough, but nonetheless, I went in there. And within a few weeks I was there, it was impactful. As a matter of fact, if that primary of April 5th were to be free and fair, I would have won the primary. Many other people saw the whole shenanigan, the sham, the charade, and they decided to withdraw. Three very prominent aspirants left the scene, from Paul Chukwuma to Obiora Okonkwo to Chukwuma Moji. In fact, the other two who didn't resign are part of the person who was declared. So they were all three working together. So it was a complete setup, ganged up against my candidacy. So eventually I came second in the primary. But I'm in court challenging that verdict, because I feel that the person who emerged candidate is actually not qualified to even contest in the first instance. And so if I'm able to prove that in court, I'll still reclaim the mandate and I will go on for the November 8th election. And as it is today, what I see in Anambra is just a case of two persons really who can win the election. Is either the incumbent governor continues or I come in. Any other person coming in is, in my opinion, is just going to either aid one or the other. Because long ago, we've asked a lot of questions. Anambra people, who would you like to be your next governor? And I have always trumped, Governor Soludo in all those polls. It means that they don't really approve of what he's doing, his style of leadership, and what it stands for. And once you are about to remove an incumbent, there is need for you to present a front, a common front that can be a unifier. In me, people see that PDP will come on board because I was the last candidate. Labour Party will come on board because obviously I'm the most prominent name in Labour Party in Anambra at the time I was there. APC obviously is the party I'm representing. Some part of ABGA will also come on board, who are disenfranchised, disenchanted with what Governor Soludo is doing. So I was meant to be the unifier that can pull people together. And once you start to move in different direction, you weaken the opposition and the incumbent will continue. And that's what is about to happen unless I reclaim this mandate. So I see hope, I see future, and I'm engaging my people to say, calm down. There are a lot of people who are behind my candidacy, a lot of institutions of repute who really, truly want Anambra to improve. And not just Anambra, Southeast. Because Anambra is always seen as the headship, as the gateway to anything that's going to be transformational in the Southeast. So this is where we are. Battle continues. I have faith in God. I am trusting him to do what he knows how best to do. And with that, I believe that we will have better story to tell in the end.
Okay, now, what leadership experience, because from my research, you have not handled any political office as in governor or president or vice president or deputy governor. You've not handled it in the past. Now, what experience are you going to be bringing to the table for the Indian Anambra to be able to trust you? Because some of them may have said that they have trusted in the past and they have not really, their trust have been betrayed. What are you bringing differently to the table to make a difference?
There are three ways to look at this question you've asked. First is to respond that the trust is there already. I have said to you there have been polls. And what is the poll saying? First and foremost, do you like the way Anambra is being governed? We have almost 70-80% saying no. Okay. If it's not this man, who else would you? You list about 10-15 people, and then about 80% mention my name. That means I've earned the trust. So it's there already. Secondly, it's important to understand that sometimes when we talk about experience, you must know what actually is the needed experience. Because somebody who has been local government chairman, deputy governor, may have had accumulation of bad experiences that the people don't even want. Yeah. So if you want a core politician who has no other job but being politics and is going there to steal, and that's your experience, then thank God I don't have that. What is the experience that Anambra people are looking for? In fact, who are they looking for? Because it's always important to start from the who before you go into the what. The big mistake we make as Nigerians is to always look for the what. Oh, manifesto should tell us. No, who are you first? Go back to that question. Now, I usually find it difficult to say this without sounding as if you're bragging. But the biggest thing you need in leadership, whether it's in politics, in corporate world, in business, in philanthropy, is emotional intelligence. More than academic or IQ and all of this, emotional intelligence. And it stems from three things. And I pride myself as somebody who is emotionally intelligent. And it comes from both nature and nurture. I'm born into it because my father grew up as a headmaster, as a catechist, instilled a lot of discipline. And as a last child of 7 children, and as a Catholic, as somebody who learned the rudiments from block rosary to be a member of St. Anthony, charismatic, and all of that, I am born and trained into that gift of emotional intelligence. And when I went into my corporate world, I was in the service industry where you are serving others, whether it's in banking or hospitality. And the highest of it is in the hotel business, where what makes you happy is to see other people happy. It's actually fulfilling that injunction about love one another, love your neighbor as you love yourself. You practicalize it when you are totally emotionally intelligent. Now, there are 3 things that consist of that. Number 1 is, first is your knowledge, awareness of yourself. And when you know yourself, first of all, you know you're not God. You know you are vulnerable. You know you are just somebody, bundle of emotion. And you then look for how to manage your emotions. So you know how to react, how to speak, how to engage, and realize that you have your strengths and at the same time, your weakness. Because when you see yourself as the only thing God has created, and you'll be arrogant, so you can't lead. You've got to be humble, empathetic to be able to lead. Because leadership is service. Serving is I want to serve you. So you can't be like this. You have to like this. And that's the starting point of it. Once you miss this, you're making a big mistake. Oh, manifesto, blueprint, everybody can hire a consultant to write, I'll do roads, I'll do that. So I don't go into that type of conversation. Who are you? Go and find out who is Valentine. And that's where I come fully prepared for this role. So, second part is your ability to respect one another. Know that even your gate man can be the person that can save you. Yeah. And in fact, the best idea for your company may come from your cleaner. So how do you humble yourself, respect, so that even if you think you're better than somebody in one area, that person may be better than you in another area. When you can't respect the person, please respect the God in that person, because we're all created in the image and likeness of God. So if you are able to show courtesy, respect to one another, to people you meet, and then you accumulate a massive amount of goodwill. And that's why today, even without any experience, I ran for primary in PDP in 2021. First time I had senator, House of Rep member, billionaires who contended alongside with me. How come I beat them? Because they saw something unique and different. And then the last part is what we call social awareness. Know your environment. You know, there's a time to speak. There's time to listen. There's time to just keep quiet and shut up. There's a time to go and get feedback. And so mastering your environment. So master yourself, respect others, and master your environment. If you have these 3 combinations, then you are ripe for leadership. If you don't, you're wasting your time. Most of the people who have failed have done that because they're arrogant. And that's what people complain bitterly about the current governor. Yes, he does some roads, he's trying to do some stuff in insecurity, but how do you make people feel? You rub off negatively. If he gets into a meeting of 3 hours, he will speak for 2 hours, 45 minutes, and he's expecting the last 15 minutes for thanking him for all the beautiful speech. Nobody else is important. Nothing you say is important. If you are a commissioner, you are sorrowing. You're sorrowful because you have no idea. Bring that file. This is the contractor who signed. You're okay. So everybody's upset. If I contest an election against Soludo, within his own cabinet, I will defeat him. That's how bad it is. So that's why let's come from that side. And then before you now go into what are you coming to do, guess what? There too, I've shown preparedness. I debated against Soludo and I beat him in the debate on Arise TV. So the point therefore is I come fully prepared. And the most important of it all is that I put God first in anything that I do.
Okay, thank you very much. We will just take a short break. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation.
Thank you.
Dear viewers, the program is the Spotlight on Catholic Television of Nigeria, and today we have Chief Valentine Ozigbo in the studio. Please don't go away, we'll come back shortly.
You're watching CTV.
Welcome back. If you are just joining us, the program is Spotlight on Catholic Television of Nigeria, and today we are discussing with a governorship aspirant, Chief Valentine Ozigbo. He is the governorship aspirant for the forthcoming November 8th gubernatorial elections in Anambra State. Before we went on break, we were looking at some of the your level of preparedness, and you made mention of something. You are putting God first. You are a Catholic. How do you think the Catholic social teachings can help you in navigating the course in leadership if you are elected as the governor of Anambra State?
You know, I have something positive and maybe not so positive to say in this regard. On one hand, I believe Catholic Church is a school in morality, a school in positivity, a school in living life along the line that our Lord Jesus Christ has instructed us to live. And it's all about understanding that we are a missionary. We're in this world as a missionary, and there's another world to come. So live your life and earn your right place in that new world. And therefore, don't assume that this is it. And what then do you do to attain that eternal kingdom? It's about how you love God, how you love your neighbor, and then, of course, love yourself. Greatest of all the commandments is love. Only three things are important: faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of them all is love. So with these teachings and the level of preparation we are attuned to, particularly from our baptism to Holy Eucharist to confirmation, and if you then become a member of Charismatic, your Life in the Spirit seminar, and all of those prepare you. And with other activities we engage in, we've just gone through a Lenten period, just even going through the way of the cross, the stations of the cross, looking at how somebody who is a Messiah could humble himself and die a miserable death on the cross. That level of humility and sacrifice, that's what. And if you can bring this to the bear, if you bring this to bear in leadership, honestly, there's no way things can remain the way they are. So I feel that these teachings have helped me and will help me in the years to come. And here's the part that I also want to challenge all of us. And that part is, I can't reconcile why we are such a prayerful, religious nation and such an evil nation at the same time. So it tells me that something is not working somewhere here. And the only way things can change is either through faith or hard work. In fact, not either, both coming together. Faith and hard work. Faith without work is useless. Hard work without faith, you're on your own. You have to be faithful and love God, like that's all that matters. That your own effort is nothing. You have to apply your own effort as if that's all that matters. Like there's no God, there's nothing else. And then when you bring the two together, you have the best of two worlds. So it's either we are failing in either of the two or we're failing in both. And I actually think we're failing in both. Because look at the case of the faith side. Sometimes even our religious leaders, we're about to select a new pope. If you ask me, we still have prophets in this land, even within the Catholic Church. We can search through and ask God directly, who do you want to be our next pope? The same way in leadership. It's only when God, Romans 8:30, for those he predestined, he called. For those he called, he justified, he qualified, and then he glorified. It's only when God really Look at the case of Gideon, for instance. When God decides that this is going to be the leader, chosen, Samuel, David, that stories abound. How do we ensure that God anoints leaders? We have to go and ask God, we have to engage God, and actually be ready to do the injunction of God. So there's a bit that I feel on the faith side we're still not getting right, because just faith of one man can change the society, a nation. It's telling me that God hasn't seen the person yet. That's why we're still where we are. And on the hard work side, I feel that we need to now translate that faith into the decisions we take on this. So we're smart, prayerful about the actions that we take. Not being conforming and unequally yoked with what's going on with the world. I still see the same mercantilism in things that we do. And I want to see a better society, and everybody has a role to play in it. And when we are failing, all of us are failing, both the church, the people being led, and the politicians, the media, everybody's failing. I would like to see us get better as a country. And that's what I want to share.
Okay, now somebody will say that this is not actually the best time for somebody to assume leadership position in the Southeast because of the myriads of problems that the Southeast is being bedeviled. Talk about insecurity, talk about erosion, and so many other things. What are your plans for security, human capacity development, and indeed environmental protection?
On the converse, this is the best time for God to give us the quality leadership that we desire. Because this is when people are now groaning. This is when people are seeing almost loss of hope and faith. It's in the midst of darkness that the light will shine brighter. So this is really when leadership is needed, because we can't keep derailing, we can't keep falling and destroying. We need to start building. So I feel that if there's a time that leadership is needed, the quality, righteous, pragmatic, effective leadership is required, this is now. And this is not just about when you get in there, because once things have gone wrong for such a long time, anything you do becomes magical. So easily you can begin to shine. But it's also about building institutions that will outlast every single one of us. There are things I intend to do in each of the important sectors. And this is how I've articulated my program, by grace of God, when I get there. I first come from that perspective of, Valentine, you can't claim to know the problems alone. Why don't you go and ask the people you're about to lead what do they really need from their next governor? And that's what I do. So I've taken time, gone around all the 21 local government, most of the 326 wards, and I've engaged people over and over and over. And the simple question is, what do you expect from your leadership? And that's how you find out that maybe what the men want may not be exactly what the women want. Yes. Those who are in the urban may not be exactly what those in the rural. Those who are old may not be exactly what those who are young. So you've got to understand those nuances so that you know what the traders want, what the students want, what the workers want, what the judiciary, what you need to figure that out. And then you start to put a design around it. And it's not something you can do alone, and it's not something that's also static. You may think you've found a solution, and tomorrow you see what happened in some other climes, in Ghana, in Rwanda, or even in some other states in Nigeria. You say, oh, okay, this is actually superior to, you go back and tweak it. So that's how we built this. And I figured out that if we approach leadership and governance through three major perspectives, there is no way we will not get it right. It's impossible. Like what I tell people, if we lock ourselves up, just how many of us, 6 of us, 7 of us in this room now, and we decide we're not going to open that door until we find a solution to a particular problem, trust me, we'll find a solution around it. So what are we going to do? There are 3 approaches. First is what I call a sector approach. Second is a cluster approach. And the last is a partnership approach. Which sectors are important? Which clusters are important? Which partnership is important? And when you understand this, then you devise, okay, where are you in this sector? Where do you want to be the given time? And what do you need to do to get there? This is a simple strategy that we've built in our blueprint. And that's what we call the Anambra Chawapo Manifesto. Anambra for a better and brighter future, prosperous Anambra. It's actually inspired by Matthew 5:16. Let your light so shine so that people see your good deeds and glorify your Father who is in heaven. How do we make Anambra shine? Anambra is supposed to be the light of the nation, but it's dim. That light is not shining. We are not the best example. We want Anambra to be the leading state, the best state. And I intend to be the best governor that, in my opinion, Africa has produced. So how do we achieve that? So if we go back to the shop sector, by the time you get all these questions from people, you find out that there are important sectors like security, like infrastructure, like the human capital development, education, healthcare, and poverty eradication. And there it takes you to economy, agriculture, and commerce, and all of that. Then going to other areas like sports, entertainment, tourism. So we've identified all these areas and detailed what we need to do. Security is a no-brainer. If you put the right resources in security, give it the right attention, deploy the right technology, put the right incentive, you'll get it right. It's simple and short. And we've seen people do it right, even in the past. Peter Obi did much better in the time he was governing Anambra State. Alex Oti, even Peter Mba in Enugu and Abia, they are doing much better than what we're doing in Anambra State. We tried to, unfortunately, sugarcoat this. For 3 years, Soludo did nothing until his election time. He suddenly realized that this is enough to pull him out of. He started Agune Chamber and brought people who are largely untrained and trying to some makeshift. Sometimes they get things right. I commend them, but it's not well thought out. It's not somebody. I mean, Edo Governor Ogbebolo, within 100 days of being in office, he had done many things far more than we've done in 3 years. And that's where we've got to also challenge ask leadership to take them to account. And that's where a lot of us fail. People are all scared, selfish. Nobody who speaks about anything wrong in Nigeria, not because of fear. That's why we all have the blame to go around. Now, going back to the shop sector. So we've identified all the things we need to do on education, for instance. How do we ensure we focus on the triple mandate of quality, affordability, and relevance? Quality, how do we ensure that the quality of teaching and the quality of infrastructure? That means you have to train the teachers. That means you have to spend money, at least following the UNESCO standard, 25% of your budget must go into education. When you do that, you're able to deal with provide roof, lights, technology, fence, basic things in all the schools around. And how do you then train the teachers? And then actually use a performance-driven environment. What stops us from getting the students to vote for who is the best teacher in every school and then who is the worst teacher? And by the time they see there's a penalty for being worst and there's a reward for being best, everybody will sit up. You can do simple creative things to change this scenario without spending a lot of money. Going to healthcare is something. How do we partner with our diaspora, build proper institutions for primary healthcare, secondary healthcare, tertiary healthcare? All of that can be done. We have the resources to do it if we mean well. And then going to the agricultural side, on the economy side, and then infrastructure. How do we partner also with the government, the federal government, to ensure that things that are important to us are catered for? We are known as traders, so it means we do a lot of imports. How come there are no ports around Anambra? How come we have to go through Lagos or One to import into Anambra? Solve that problem and we can solve it. And so that's part of the reason why connecting to the center is actually very important. So this idea of let's even now go APC way, that's how, because with that we can do some groundbreaking projects that have not been done before, because APC would love to see Anambra as part of it. And so you can, throw these cards and get things that Anambra people need. And then you transform your society. After all, we need is proper governance. Now, if you leave the sector approach, go into the cluster approach, Which clusters are important to us? We want Onitsha to be a center of excellence in commerce. We want Nnewi to be a center of excellent industrialization. Awka to be rural capital city. Anambra for agro-processing. Maybe Odagota for tech hub. If you look at these 5 clusters and focus on them, what does Onitsha need to become that center of excellence? The water system, the tech system, the road infrastructure. Let's have a decent society where law and order function, not where Akodo, Aboro, everywhere. How do we get things right in that regard? Then moving to the last approach, which is the partnership. How do we get the right partners? Anambra people are very rich, industrious, but the money is not working for Anambra. They are elsewhere. Anambra is developing Abuja, Lagos. How do we get those? We can focus on that. Imagine if I say to every town, if you have your industrialists who can develop 1 kilometer road, I, the governor, will match with another 1 kilometer road, and they start attracting this. Before you know it, all the roads in Anambra will finish. Anambra is the second smallest state in Nigeria. So before you know it, within 2 years, we finish all our roads. We move away from roads to other things, security, schools. And every single December, we gather all these partners and celebrate them. Imagine I invite, I don't know who you want to name, maybe Michelle Obama to come and give them a medal and then they get inspired. If 100 people worked with me this year, there'll be 200 people next year. And that's how we use creativity to make our money work for ourselves. So if we do these things, Anambra will blossom. That's what Anambra Chawapo is all about.
Okay, thank you very much. We are wrapping up now. Finally, there's this saying that before people go into leadership, they have all the bright and beautiful ideas. But when they go into leadership, there's these banana peels that usually make them not to actually deliver their earlier blueprints and the manifesto that they have. Now, as we wrap up now, what will you be telling voters in Anambra State who will be having the same mindset that they come with good blueprints, but when they go in, they really don't do much? What will you be telling them as well?
We've actually answered it, and I'm happy you're bringing this up again because it's actually the most important conversation to have. I want to say to the voter, when things go wrong, hold yourself responsible. Yeah, you actually made a mistake in the first instance because you are looking for wrong things. Politics actually does not change people. It brings out who they are. There's nothing we talk about these people that we didn't know before. But because we forgot about paying attention about who they are, we start looking at what, and what. It's not about what. So when Soludo, for instance, came to say Tunde Anambra, Dubai, Taiwan, whatever, that's what he was saying. What does that mean? You've been sold out, he's going to convert Anambra to become Taiwan. Okay, go on. We're now begging for Aba, Umuahia, Asaba, but we can't even get. Because you forgot. You didn't pay attention to who is Governor Soludo. In our Igbo land, is Ozigbo mother. Answer that question first. If you miss that part, who are you blaming? No. Blame yourself for doing the wrong thing. So choose the right person first. Who? Focus on the who. And if you think that Valentine is not the right person, then don't deal with Valentine. It's only maybe you can see that all of us are wrong. We start looking for, okay, the what. But if you're able to find the right person, trust me, we've seen politicians in Nigeria who have gone in to do the right thing. They, both in the past, in the present. We still talk about the likes of Anambra Governorship, Michael Okbara and co. Sam Bakwe. Do you understand? They were politicians. Modern time, even today's world, well, I just met Governor Mba yesterday. Yes, he's from another party, but quite frankly, he's doing a great job in Enugu State. The other day I was in Abia to see Governor Oti. He's doing a great job. So the issue is that who are they? And if you notice, these are people who were CEOs like myself in the private world who understand that we've got to run politics, governance as a business with a business mindset. You have to be frugal, you have to be prudent, you have to be accountable, you have to know that you're there to serve the people. So if you go there to just accumulate resources because you want to become president in the future, then you're going to fail people. And I want to say to the Anambra, Politics simply brings out, because when you give a man power, that's when you know truly who. But if you dig further, go do some paths check, ground key, just some assessment. Like I tell people, I was in several institutions, from Transcorp to UBA to Bank PHB to Diamond Bank. Go and find out who is Valentine from all those areas and use that. And Governor Soludo, for instance, was in CBN. Go and find out what people who worked with him are saying. I haven't seen anybody who has said anything positive, from Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala to late Dora Akunyili down to some people. Go and check, find out. CBN, Central Bank, find out the staff there. What did they feel about him? And that's how you choose leadership, not title, not. Thank you.
Okay, very well. That's how you find good leadership, when you investigate as voters and then you come up with a decision that you know will be beneficial to you, because it is your government, it is your state that needs to be developed, and you are supposed to be beneficiary of the dividends of democracy if you choose the right person. Yes, we have been discussing for the past 30 minutes with Chief Valentine Ozigbo. He's a governorship aspirant with All Progressive Congress, APC, and he is also a businessman, a philanthropist, a politician, a devout Catholic, and above all, he was the former managing director and chief executive officer of Transcorp Hilton. He has been in the industry, in the corporate industry, for so long, and now he wants to transfer his wealth of knowledge to leadership in Anambra State. Thank you very much for coming. We hope when next we invite you, you oblige us.
I'm always here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tony.
Yeah, dear viewers, this is where we'll be dropping the anchor on today's program, Spotlight on Catholic Television. Please join us same time, same station next week, as we bring you yet another very important guest to discuss issues that will bring about development in our society. Bye for now. My name is Tony Abba.
You are watching CTV.